All right, for this lesson, we're going to be looking at what are called complex unit rates. And they're just called complex unit rates because they involve fractions instead of just whole numbers. And so a lot of this lesson is going to have to do with visualization and thinking big picture about what's going on in the situation, drawing ourselves a picture, and then I'm also going to show you how to do it with computations on the right. As you're watching this video, you should be following along and writing everything that I'm writing and coloring everything that I am coloring. All right, so the first one says that Sky reads 26 pages in 1/4 of an hour. What is her reading rate in pages per hour? So first, when we see something like per hour, that's talking about per 1 hour. So the unit here is going to be 1 whole hour. So this bar that we have is going to represent 1 whole hour. So if you want to make a little note that the whole thing is going to represent 1 hour, that would be helpful. Okay, now it says that she reads 26 pages in 1/4 of an hour. So what I'm going to do is take my hour and we're going to split it up into fourths. Okay, so I've split, this represents 1 full hour, and then each piece, because it's split up into fourths, represents 1/4 of an hour. Okay, so that means each one of these 1/4 is 26 pages that she reads. So 26. Okay, so therefore, in order a way to figure out what is her reading rate in pages per hour, we can do 26 times 4, because 26 is each 1/4, we want 4/4. So one way I want us to show it is 26 times 4, which equals 104 pages per hour. So we can put 104 pages per hour. Okay, let's highlight that answer. Okay, another way we can think of it, and this will come in more handy later, but I want us to get in the habit of doing it now, is essentially if we were to take 26 and divide it by the 1/4 pages, divide it by the rate, that would be the same as, we know our standard algorithm for dividing fractions is keep, change, flip. So that would be the same as 26 times 4 over 1, which would still be 104 over 1, which is equivalent to just 104. Okay, so everybody take a moment, make sure you have all of that written. Okay, so for the next one, the situation here says that Mrs. Moore works 8 hours per day. She made $2,700 for working 9 days. How much money does Mrs. Moore earn per hour? Okay, so if we know this is going to represent the whole amount of money that she makes. Okay, so she made $2,700. Okay, and then the way that I've already split it up for you on now on the next one, you're gonna have to split it up yourselves. But we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 9 columns. So each one of those we're gonna think of like a day. That's day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then each day that she worked is split up into 8 hours. So we have hours, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So really what we're doing here is taking the $2,700, dividing it by 9 days, then dividing it again by 8 hours per day. So the work for that one is going to be $2,700 divided by 9 days. 2,700 divided by 9, which is going to be $300 per day. Okay, and then we're going to take the amount per day, so that's $300 she made a day, and divide it amongst the 8 hours per day. When we do that, we get $37.50 per hour. So again, we just have to think about what makes sense, how do we need to divide it so that we can get our answer. So take a minute and make sure you have all of that. All right, so for the next one, John can travel 5/8 of a mile on 1/7 gallon of gas. At this rate, what is the average miles per gallon for John's vehicle? So we're trying to figure out miles per gallon or per 1 gallon. So let's think about what this bar is going to represent. What do you think the bar is going to represent? Should represent 1 whole gallon. Okay, so the question gives us the information of 5/8 of a mile for every 1/7 of a gallon. So we're going to take this gallon and split it into 7 pieces. Fun fact, if you draw 6 lines, it'll be split into 7 pieces. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So this is going to be 1/7 gallon of gas. 1/7 a gallon of gas will get him 5/8 of a mile. Okay, so if we think about that, if we have 1/7 of a gallon of gas gets him 5/8 of a mile, we want to know a whole gallon. So really, we're going to multiply by 7 because we want to know 7/7. Okay, so kind of like before, we're going to show our work 2 ways. First, we're going to take the 5/8 times 7 to get us the whole gallon. So 5 times 7 is 35. 8 times 1 is 8. Okay, and then 8 goes into 35 4 whole times. And then we're left with, so 8 goes into 35 4 whole times. 8 times 4 is 32. So we're left with 3/8 left over. So he can go 4 3/8 miles per gallon. Again, you really just got to think critically about what makes sense for the situation. Now, again, this is going to come in handy later, but another way we could think about it is that would be the same as doing 5/8 divided by 1/7, right? We had 5/8 and 1/7. And our algorithm for dividing fractions is keep, change, flip. So we would do 5/8 times 7 over 1, and we would still get 4 3/8. So that's going to be the same problem essentially. So remember, we can divide by what's given, or we can think about it a little bit more big picture and just multiply by what we know based on the picture. Take a moment to copy all of that. All right, next. Shia climbs 7/10 of a kilometer in 3/5 of an hour. So this is where it's going to get a little trickier. We know how fast does she climb in kilometers per hour, or kilometers per 1 hour. So what do we think our bar is going to represent? It's going to represent 1 whole hour. Okay, so it says it's giving us the information of the amount she can run in 3/5 of an hour. So let's go ahead and divide our bar into 5 pieces. So we're going to draw 4 lines. 1, 2, 3, and that's 4 and 5. So this is, each one is worth 1/5 of an hour. Okay, so she can go 7/10 of a kilometer in 3/5 of an hour. So we're going to shade 3/5. And we know that in that, she can run 7/10 of a kilometer in 3/5 of an hour. Oh, okay, so this one's going to be a little tricky because this here, I have 2/5, but I don't really know what 2/5 is worth off of the top of my head. So what we can do is we can take the 7/10, we're going to divide it by 3 to figure out what the 1/5 piece is, and then we can multiply it by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to figure out what 5/5 is. So we're going to take the worth of 3/5, we're going to divide it by 3 to get 1/5, how much that's worth, and then we're going to multiply it by 5 to get the full hour. Okay, so again, I'm going to show it multiple ways, but first we are going to do 7/10 divided by 3, or 3/1. Okay, remember the keep, change, flip, that's going to be 7/10 times 1/3, which is going to be 7/30. Okay, so she can go 7/30 in 1/5 of an hour. But we don't want to know 1/5 of an hour, we want to know a full hour. So we're going to do that 7/30 times 5. So 7/30 times 5/1. Okay, 7 times 5 is going to be 35/30, which simplifies to 30 goes into 35 one whole time, and we're left with 5/30 left over. And we can actually simplify that again to 1 and 1/6, because we can divide the numerator and denominator by 5. So 1 and 1/6 kilometers per hour. So I'm just going to put kilometers per hour. Now, the reason I had you working it 2 ways before is let's see what would happen if we just did 7/10 divided by 3/5. So 7/10 divided by 3/5. If we do keep, change, flip, we're going to have 7/10 times 5/3. Well, 7 times 5 is 35. 10 times 3 is 30. And you can see, based on what we've already done, 35/30 simplifies to 1 and 1/6 kilometers per hour. Okay, so the big picture here is essentially we wanted to divide by 3 and multiply by 5. Bear with me if the announcements come on. And here, essentially what we did is multiplied by 5 and then divided by 3 to get the same thing. Okay, so the big idea here is you can take whatever you started with and divide it by the unit that you are trying to get the whole of, and that's a faster way to do it. Okay, so let's do the very last one. Bear with me if the announcements come on, I might have to pause. Ava can run 2.5 miles in 3 1/4 hours. How far can Ava run in miles per hour? So we're going to have each of these bars represent an hour. Each one represents 1 hour. So let's see, it's giving us the information of 3 1/4 hours. So 1, 2, 3, and then let's split the last hour into fourths. Right now we're going to color in that she ran 2.5 miles in 3 1/4 hours. So we're going to color the first block 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 3 1/4 hours. She was able to run 2.5 miles. Okay, so now I want to know how far she can run in miles per 1 hour. Miles per 1 hour. Okay, I'm actually going to split each hour up into fourths. So really what we can do is take her 2.5 miles, divide it by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We're going to divide it by 13 to figure out 1/4 of an hour. And then we can multiply by 4 to get that whole hour. So we're going to divide by 13 and multiply by 4. Let's look at something. If we take 3 1/4 and make it an improper fraction, 4 times 3 is 12, plus 1 is 13. 13 over 4. We're going to divide by 13 and multiply by 4. So really, we're going to divide by 13/4. Okay, so we're going to show it two ways. I'm going to go ahead and make 2.5 an improper fraction. Pause for a sec.
Good afternoon, Philip Simmons Middle School.
So we are going to make this into an improper fraction. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5, so that's 5 halves. Okay, so I'm going to show both ways. Essentially, we're going to take the 5 halves and this is 4, this one's 5. Yeah, we're going to take the 5 halves and divide it into the 13 pieces. So 5 over 2 divided by 13 over 1, which is the same as 5 over 2 times 1 over 13 because of keep, change, flip. 5 times 1 is 5. 2 times 13 is 26. Okay, so we've taken that 2.5 miles, we've split it amongst the 13 pieces. So now 5/26 is 1/4 of an hour. In order to get a whole hour, we need to multiply that by 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to do 5 over 26 times 4 over 1. 5 times 4 is 20. 26 times 1 is 26. If we wanted to simplify that, we could divide both the numerator and the denominator by 2, and we'd have 10 over 13. So it's 10 over 13, 10/13 miles per hour. Okay, so that's thinking of it in more of a big picture way. Now, if you just want to follow our method of doing what you're given divided by what you're trying to find the rate in, that would be 5 halves divided by 13/4. We're going to do keep, change, flip, so it'll be 5 halves times 4 over 13. 5 times 4 is 20, and 2 times 13 is 26, which simplifies to 10/13 miles per hour. Okay, so make sure you have everything copied. Now the questions on the back are very similar to the questions on the front. If you need help getting started, just let me know, but go ahead and make sure you have everything written down, and then you're going to try the ones on the back for yourself.